right, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Sunday Night Charts with Jim of All Trades. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're well. I hope everybody's doing okay on this March 23rd, 2025. We're going to jump into the charts tonight. We're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at Ethereum, XRP, overall market perspective on the S&P. We'll look at gold and silver, all the traditional market analysis there as well. We're just going to look over the charts and say, okay, where are we going? What's price doing? Not a whole lot's changed since last week, but the question is, could Bitcoin be heading to 103? Could Bitcoin be heading to 103K here very soon? Well, we're going to look at a scenario that might have us going up to 103 for a fake out, and then kind of a heavy move to the downside. And we're going to say instead of 103, but anywhere from between 100 and 103. So let me give or 104. Let me give a little zone here, right in here. It could be as short as 98. Those three fib levels right there, but I would say more likely 100K to 100,000. If it goes up from here. Now, I don't know if it is or not. I'm not here to say what's going to happen, but here's what I am saying. There are some Elliott wave counts, some that take us up there, and I'm going to show you one that I have kind of marked here as a potential flat. And especially if we start to see this start to pick up some speed, if the wave starts to pick up some speed here and kind of start moving with little pullbacks, getting up here to about this area, that would be how do I say it? That would be a fake out of the century, okay? Because I think that would be three waves. We'd be looking for more down to go. And so we'll talk about that count here in just a moment, but I gave it to you there. But it's possible here, guys, that we just roll over right from where we are and come down to about 70 to 72K to finish this wave out, maybe the first move down. So which one is it? Are we gonna come up here? I kind of think I like this area. I'm a little bullish with some caution, okay? But looking for one of these scenarios, down here to about 70 to 72, straight down, or we're going to start working our way up to this area. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, and that's the big question mark. So we're going to look at do the analysis from an Elliott wave perspective and say, okay, which one's more likely? What do we expect to see, and what are the things we're looking for? With that said, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you guys are glad to be here. I'm certainly glad to be here. I'm going to do my very, very best for you, give you as unbiased analysis as I can do. Don't forget, I'm not a financial advisor, however. I am simply a guy here on YouTube showing you the way I look at the charts from an Elliott wave perspective. Let me say hi to everybody that said hi to me, and we'll get started tonight. What's up, Seth Drake? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. 117. Maybe so. What's up, Zigzag? How you doing? There's Keith M. You want some opium charts or some hopium charts? Which one do you want? Music Life. Hey, I'll give you at least a balanced bearish view. I won't be too aggressive, but I'll show you what I'm seeing from a bearish perspective. Don't you worry about that. What's up, Eddie Bo? I'm well. I'm glad you're waiting for the live. Thanks for being here, buddy. Let's see. Jococo. 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 What's up, man? I love your name. I don't know why. I've just made it fun every week when I see it. So what's up? What's up, Daniel L? Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Twins Records. How you doing? What's up? What's up? All right. Let's see. Kimo Sabi. Hey, buddy. You said Seth's a big meanie. That's funny. Hey, Savim Sumeri, what's up? This fake out, it will clean up the shorts and the long entries. Yeah, could be. Naqib, is that how you say your name? I'm not sure, but hello, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, I'm laughing. All right, guys. Well, let's jump into the charts, and we'll show you what I'm seeing. All right. Okay, so do we need to? I guess we need to back out, and let's just back out and do some macro analysis here, and then we'll move into the micro here. But just looking at the macro here, guys. I've shared this for quite a while now, that there's a lot of reasons why I have a belief that this macro move is finished. Okay. You have 5 waves, 5 waves, and 5 waves. And this looks like a finished 5-wave move. It looks like one. Now, there is a chance it is not finished. Okay? There's a chance. And there's a chance that what we have here is wave 1, 2, and then this entire move here up to this point is wave 3. And that means we're working on, if not finished with, wave 4. Then we're looking for wave 5. That's when we get up to 140K range. That 145 target I've been talking about for a very long time now. Yeah, so that's a possibility, 145K. But the question is this a... So the big question of the macro is this right here, is that a wave 4 of the 5th wave, or... And see, and that's what I'm saying here. This looks, that's definitely, right there is definitely a wave 4. Just what degree is that wave 4? Okay, what degree? Is that the wave 4 of the 3rd? Or is that wave 4 of the 5th? Okay, so it's really hard to say. You've really got all the telltale signs that you look for this wave being done. Okay, you've got a top of a wave 3 here. You've got hidden bullish divergence on this wave 4. You got to move up for a wave 5. You've got the regular divergence for reversal. Okay, so you have all kinds of reasons to believe that, hey, this wave looks to be about finished. Okay, now. Oh, sorry. So yeah, it is possible that you have a finished 5-wave move here from the inception of Bitcoin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's finished. It's done. It's a leading diag. We're expecting boom, boom, and then boom, 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 boom. Something like that. A multi-year bear market that retraces 50 to 80% of price from the original move up. That means if we put the retrace fibs on the original price all the way to the all-time high, we would be looking for a retrace down anywhere. I mean, more than likely, the best support area right here is the 786 retrace right there at $23,000. Okay. That would be a 786 retrace. Now, it could go a lot deeper than that. In fact, there are other targets down here, and if you want to get real technical here, about anywhere from 10 to 15,000 is a nice area of support as well. All right, so anyway, that is one macro view, that this is the beginning. This wave right here is the beginning of a multi-year bear market that is going to look very similar in character, more than likely. I would guess very similar in character to this wave right here. Either this wave or this wave. Those two waves. The character of those waves, if you study those, that's probably going to be the character of the way this wave is going to come down. Okay. So I've got something drawn here, and it's just a representation of 3 waves. Complex WXY, where you have a 3-wave start that gets a lot of the ways down to 50 to 60% retrace. Okay. Then there's going to be a dead cat bounce of some kind, and then 3 more waves back, and that's going to finish us out down here at our target zone, anywhere between 10 and 23K. Okay. So that's the way I would look at a multi-year bear market, and that this is the beginning stage of that wave. And that's the bearish look, okay, that this is finished. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom. And that this is just the first wave, which may or may not be finished, okay? In other words, this first wave can come down a million different ways. And there's no way to be certain as to what it is, right? It could come down and start in 3 waves. It could start in 5 waves, 3s and 5s. I'm of the impression that it's likely that this is what you have right here is the A wave of the A wave, or the W wave. This is the A wave of the W wave. Or it's a W of a W, however you want to look at it. In other words, a macro or a macro correction would involve 3, 3, 3, more than likely. That means I'm calling for a potential count here where you have an A, B, C back up here to, let's see, we got a target zone of 98K is the 618, the golden zone retrace. 102 is the 786. That's a really nice area. That 102, 103 area coincides with the 1618 extension here. So this is a really nice zone for a 3-wave pullback if this starts getting some steam. But I would not expect this if this starts going up hot and heavy really quick, okay? If it starts getting some steam, I would not expect it to continue on. I would expect it to probably find some resistance right here and then come down for 3 more waves. And then everybody's going to get scared, but we're going to find, more than likely, if this plays out, we're going to find some support right here at this first area, this area of about 50 to 60K range. We're going to find some support in that zone. All right. And that would be the A wave, okay, or the first or the W wave of a larger correction. This could even come down even further if it wants to, down here to 40 to 50K if it wants to get deep, right? Then we'd look for a 3-wave pullback. Now, who knows? That would be, I would say, a 50% retrace would be likely, okay, 50%, and then look for 3 more waves that would get us down to our target zone of about $20,000. And that would be what I would see as a multi-year bear market right there. That would take the next 4 to 5 years, let's say 3 to 5 years to play out. Okay, but what that would be from an Elliott perspective, if you believe in macro Elliott counts, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be the first impulse wave, wave 1. In which case, this would be the macro wave 2. We'd be then looking for a first wave to develop, okay, a pullback to begin. We'd be looking for the moon after that, okay. We'd be looking for the price of Bitcoin to start moving, but it's going to take time. It's going to take time. Why do I gravitate to this count? Okay. Why do I gravitate to this particular count? Well, personally, I kind of like that count more than any other count because the character of this wave right here has a very finished look to it. Okay, it has a finished look. Now, you might look at this wave and say and look back here and say, look, we made a new high. The problem is this wave right here did not have the character of 5 waves. It didn't have the character of 5 waves. You had a 1 and a 2. Then you had a 3, but you didn't have a 4. You had to have the 5 in order to get the character of 5 waves. So this wave did not finish the character of 5 waves until it came up for that other high. Okay? This wave, however, has the character of 5 waves already. You've got the divergence you look for. You've got the wave count, and you've got a deep rejection here after that top. So the way I look at this, guys, I think it's a strong likelihood that we actually have topped. That 100 and whatever K it was is a possibility. Now, Am I certain of that? No, I'm not certain. I'm just talking about the way I look at waves and then why I think what I think. Everybody has a bias and everybody has a belief system and everybody has a reason why they think it's going to go higher or whatever. And I think it could go higher. I think it's in the realm of possibility and even likelihood that we could hit another high. However, I think it's worth considering that we have already topped. Okay, we have made our high. You're not going to get another high until we retest lower levels. Okay, on the macro scale, because we finished a macro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now that's a way to look at this wave. It's a way. Okay, and again, when we look at the final wave, we have the character of a finished wave. So again, just looking at this one to recap here on the we would look for, let's go, let me show you just for a second the character of the wave I would expect to see if this indeed is a top. Okay, so we're going to go and we're going to look way down here, way back. There it is. This wave right here is a beautiful example of what I would expect to see. Okay. And this is another reason why I think we might get that flat that I was talking about. Okay. So you'll notice that we got an initial 3-wave move down off of the pump. So we had a pump, right? And then we had an initial 3-wave move. Okay, this is back in June of 2019. Okay, this is wave 1 of the third wave that took us to 69K. All right, so there's 3 waves, and then what happened? Well, you got this pullback, and this moved down, and the question was, oh, are we going to keep going down for another, for more down? No, it actually created a 3-wave move back up. Okay, now let's look at the retrace. Okay, when you pull the retrace on that sucker, okay, it came right back to the 618 retrace. Okay, and it came back in 3-wave fashion. All right, then what happened? Well, that was 3 to start, 3 back up, and then what happened? Well, we had a rejection, boom, a 3-wave, boom, boom. There was 3 right there. That was another 3 waves. And then what happened? You got this 3 waves, boom. And then finally, the trashiest wave of them all. This was trash. Boom, 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 right there. And that is a classic WXY. Let's look at it. WXY. That's the W wave right there. That's W. Boom. There's your X wave. Boom. And now here's your Y wave. Boom. Okay. And that brought us all the way back down to a 80 or 90% retrace of the original wave, this original wave. Now, we don't have to come down that far, right? But it's often very likely. After a wave 1, you get a retrace of 70 to 80%. Okay, let's go back and look at the first all-time high to 20K. Let's look at the character of that wave for a moment. Just kind of look at it. You had an initial 3 waves. Boom, boom, boom. Right there. There's your initial 3 waves. Boom. Then you had 3 waves back there. Boom. And then you had 3 waves down. There's your W wave right there. Okay. Then you have a triangle, what I believe is probably more than likely. Well, actually, I go back and forth, but we could say that this is our X wave right here, X. Okay. And then your Y wave, this is interesting. This is an interesting count here, is where you have ABC or a W. Then you have a triangle for an X. And then you have boom, boom, boom for a Y. And so you have a double correction, and overall, your W, X, Y. Okay. It's a complex correction. And that's what I would expect to see after a 1 wave in Bitcoin. Okay. So when I go back to Bitcoin on the macro, okay, and I'm calling this wave here, I'm calling it a wave 1. that this is a move. This is a wave one of sorts. Let's just say. In which case, if we zoom, let me get rid of my. Let's do it this way. There we go. If this is a wave one, we're looking for a wave two. That's going to bring us down 70 to 80%. Okay, wave two. Then we're looking for wave three. This is when Bitcoin goes. Okay, this is when Bitcoin moons. This is when Bitcoin starts taking off. Why will the value of Bitcoin take off like that? Because the value of the US dollar will have been so devalued that it will just inflate like crazy. This wave right here. But I believe that what we're in for is some kind of a WXY right in here. Boom. That's going to bring us back down to these levels before we go up for that wave. And that's what I'm saying here. That's what I'm arguing for. At least that's kind of the way I think this wave could play. Now, what I think doesn't matter. What the chart does, it's what it does. What kind of circumstance would bring this kind of correction? Well, a crash of American and world economics. Yes, the U.S. dollar dying, fiat currency dying, mass global economic problems going on, all markets crashing. And remember, last week I shared my big theory that the dollar will crash, the markets will crash, even Bitcoin will crash, and everything's going to move into gold and silver and other tangibles, where the prices of those are going to begin mooning, like going exponentially up until they reach their final peak. And that may take years, right? And then it'll move out of gold back into crypto. It'll move into crypto. But during that time of gold mooning and whatnot, and the macroeconomics going crazy, there will be a major correction, okay? And there will be a culling off of all of the there'll be a culling of the crap coins. So as Bitcoin takes a dive here, it's not going to die. It's just going to take a dive, more than likely. And during that time, all the S coins are gonna fall off. They're gonna die. They need to die. There's too many of them. Okay, and there's too much liquidity within those, and all the liquidity has to be taken from that. And so in other words, money has to be taken systematically from people who have money, because they're not going to let you have anything. So that's what I believe, guys. This is what I'm calling for. That we're in a wave. We have begun a wave, something like that. Mark it down, Chemo. I said it. I've been saying this for the last several weeks now. That there's a good chance we've already topped. Last several months, there's a strong chance we've topped. I don't think that there's a high likelihood that we get that blow off top. I think we've already had it personally, and we hit 100K with it. Okay. So that's kind of what I think. I know there's always that, and this is the big question of Elliott waivers all the time. Are we going to get one more hit to the high? Do we get the infamous one more hit to the high? One more hit to the high. Are we going to get it? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get it or not. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, so that's the bearish scenario, guys. But I'm not looking for it to go straight down, guys. It's not going to go straight down. It's going to go systematically, and it's going to go correctively. Okay, it's going to go complexly to the downside, because in the complexity, it makes it hard to trade. It makes it hard to follow and understand what it's doing, and it has to be like that because they have to be able to take money from traders in the process. So you need a strategy that allows you to trade within that process. Okay. So anyway, all right. So there's the bearish scenario, guys. I'm not here advocating for it necessarily. I'm not rooting for it. I'm just saying I think that's a high likelihood that's in the realm of my top ideas. That as I look at the charts, that's what I believe is going on. Okay. Now, let's look at the macro bullish scenario, if there is one. And I said this last week, and I'll say it again. The only bullish scenario I can see at this point. Well, okay, I can see several others, I suppose. If for some reason Bitcoin is able to, all right, I see two bullish counts. One's really, really mega bullish, and then one is somewhat pretty bullish, but needs to be followed by a multi-year bear market. So let's talk about them. First one, right here. If this is a wave 4, in this wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get our blow off top 5, 145, 150K is on the table. It would be a throw over to the, it would be a throw over here. It would come up and throw up and over the trend line, boom. And then it would come back in for a multi-year, 3-year, 3-wave move back down, multi-year bear market, what I just drew a minute ago. So everything I just said is still in play for this count, except we go hit the high first, and then we come down for a 3-wave move. That takes many months to go through. Okay, so that's one bullish scenario there, that this is a wave 4. I don't think that's the case, but let's keep it open to possibilities. Okay, so I really love this thing to already have bottomed and this now be working its way up for the next move. Okay, I do not have a VPN on. My VPN is not on, guys. Let me check my, I got an excellent connection on my end. Excellent connection in YouTube. As far as I'm concerned, everything's good to go. Anybody else having trouble with lag or the stream stopping? Chemo says it's been smooth. Mr. Coco, that might be on you and your end. Okay. Now, another bullish scenario that's even more bullish, and something I haven't really considered with a lot of intentionality, but I suppose it's possible. And that is that this is actually, instead of a leading diagonal, this is a 1, 2, 1, 2. In which case, we are as bullish as we've ever. Bitcoin is about to moon, go straight up, or this could get a little bit more dicey like this, with another correction, something like this, something like that, right? Come back down to this zone, and then we go up for the moon, okay? And we go straight to $1 million. We don't get that multi-year bear market. In fact, it's just a couple of years. Maybe a year and a half or something of up and down here. We find our correction, and then we begin to moon after that. Okay. So that is the Ultra Bull. That's a 1, 2, 1, 2, and this is just going straight up to the moon. This is never gonna stop. It's gonna be a lot like the S&P. It's just the pullbacks are going to be small and continue. Okay, so yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's where we are. Okay, but when the S&P started, let's just check the S&P real quick. Okay, when the S&P started monthly, you'll notice, and this is really, this right here, this wave right here is what I'm talking about. Okay, it didn't come all the way down here, but the S&P up to this point, you had its initial wave, its initial move, right? But this volatile 3-wave move here in crypto, we come all the way back. Crypto has a normal pattern of coming all the way back down to the support zone. Okay. S&P didn't do that here, and it just kind of kept going. Pullbacks were small, and it just got parabolic and straight up. Okay, is that what crypto is going to do? Maybe. So that this could be a 1, 2, 1, 2. The only thing I don't like about the 1, 2, 1, 2 here is that the second 1, 2 is so much bigger than the first 1, 2. It's out of proportion. It's not proportional. Usually the first 1-2, boom, 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 is a lot bigger than the second 1-2. Because then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you have a series of 1-2s that get smaller and smaller. So as it's being made, it just kind of looks like it's just revving up just a little bit, and then boom, it breaks out, right? So that's a traditional 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. That's what a traditional 1-2, 1-2 looks like. This is not a traditional 1-2, 1-2. I don't gravitate to the 1-2, 1-2 idea. I really don't. It doesn't look proportional. It doesn't look right. But I try to also hold ideas outside of my box so that, I can not get stuck in my ruts of looking at the market one way. I always try to step outside of the way I look at the market and look at it from a different perspective to see if I can come up with a different idea, right? So that's another idea. As we look at wave structure, we could count it as a 1-2, 1-2 maybe. All right. So with that said, we've looked at 3 counts this evening, or 4. I can't remember, but which one do you think it is? I kind of have a sense that we've already finished. This could be rolling over to come down for one more hit, and that would be the initial wave, looking for a 3-wave pullback, or we've already had the initial wave, boom. Not the finished initial wave, but this would be, let's have a retest up here, and then we come down. That would be the initial wave down, W. And then we'd look for X. Then we'd look for Y. That's the way I would see the chart. That would bring us down to about 30K if it holds that line. If it breaks that line, that's fine. The real support zone is right here. This is real support zone. Right in here. That's the area where the chart says, hey, I've got price support very, very strong in that zone right there. Pulling the fibs from the beginning to the end. You can see that zone is the 88% zone. The 786 is not a bad area, but I think it's probably, it's really, 786 is not bad either. So those 2 levels right there are not bad for targets if we do start coming down. But keep in mind, I don't think we're going to come straight down. No. I think it's much more likely we come down very complexly. That means you're going to have all kinds of opportunity. Okay? So, in other words, you're going to get boom, you get a retest, boom, it'll come down, scare you to death, and then work its way back up, maybe 50%, probably back up to 90K, and then down for the rest of it, 3 waves, boom. So something like that, but it's going to take a lot longer than I've got it drawn. More than likely, it's going to get drawn out over to here, 2030, 2031, 2032, that kind of time frame. Okay. Just checking in on XRP here. Okay. All right, let's do some micro analysis here. That's the macro look. Those are the macro ideas that I have for you. Just wanted to revisit those before and have that as a context before we do our small time frame analysis. So in the small time frame, I'm looking at this wave here, and I look at it a couple of ways. But I think the most likely way to look at this is that, I say the most likely. This could be right here, A, B, and C. That finished right here. All right. Now, if that's the case, if that's an ABC that finished, that means what we're in, that this wave right here is some kind of an A wave. There's a B wave, and that we're in the middle of a C wave that could get us back up here to anywhere from 98 to 104K range. That would be interesting. Okay, that would be a what I call, not what I call, is what Elliott wave calls a flat. You have 3 waves to the upside, 3 to the downside, took the low. It's an expanded flat. Okay, let's pull the fib, retrace on that as if this was a finished wave. Right there. And you have a couple of targets here. You've got the golden zone retrace right in here, and then you've got the 786. I really like that 786 because it takes out the high of this area right here. It takes out this zone right there. So that 786 is a nice zone, or a wick through the golden zone here at 98. Okay, but this is the target I would look for. Oh, maybe even a wick through just the top of this area, 98, 99K. And then we would look for down in 3 waves again after that. And that right there would be 3, 3, 3. And that's if we've reversed. Okay. So that's a possibility. Now, I don't like the way this wave is developing. It's ugly, but it could play, because this could be some kind of a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, what we'd expect to see is this to start picking up steam, start to pick up some momentum to the upside, and probably, get moving. That sometime by the end of the week, into the weekend, next week, we finish this wave. Okay, and we get up here. So that's a possibility. We're looking at that and say, hey, yeah, okay. And if it wants to move up a lot quicker and then more vertically, instead of slow and steady wins the race, but get some vertical candles, they can do that as well. That would even be nicer to finish sooner. Sometime midweek, have a midweek reversal even. That would be great. Pull back over the weekend, and then work our way down after that. So I like that count. I think there's a lot of merit to that count. I've got to see this wave just kind of continue on. What I don't want to see is that trend right there, that line break. If we get a break of that, I'm not going to like that count a whole lot. Okay. In other words, if price breaks down from here, okay, I'm going to look at this as a potential finished 3-wave that now is doing a 3-wave down, which could then be followed by a 5-wave to the upside, which I'm not a huge fan of that count, because what is this? What is that? Except that, maybe we get something. Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense. I don't even like that. So this could just roll over and come down. This could be like a 1-2 to the downside. And this coming down to our 72K, 70K range target to finish this thing out. So this count says this wasn't finished here. We needed this move down. Now, I don't know which is the case. I don't know which of those counts is going to play. I really don't. I'm not here to. Excuse me. I'm so tired tonight. All of a sudden, I'm not here to say for certain. I'm just saying I'm reading wave structures and say, okay, what could this be? Okay, what could this be? I really like a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 idea, but what I need to see is this. I need to see this pick up, take this high, and then start picking up some steam. I want to see it start moving pretty quick. It doesn't have to be one candle straight up. but I do want to see it just kind of steady going, because that's the way flats do. 3, 3, then 5. If that is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, okay, let me show you the way I'd count that. Just pull the fibs on the third one too. One, two. Let's come up here. Well, yeah. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That has us taking the top out. If that's a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Very potentially. That's if this third wave extends up here to the. That would be nasty. That would. Because that would be A, B, C. Then all of a sudden you could have some kind of large flat here. A, B, C. And that would be a macro wave 4. Right there. Or if it comes down deep, it could be that 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 count. Or, yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. Just working the wave out, guys. Give me a second. Got a hidden bull here on XRP. That is a 2-minute chart, though. 5-minute chart has a little hidden bull on it. Almost. Weird. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the wave 4 idea, Camel. That's why I gravitate more to the we're finished, and this is working its way down complexly. But this wave right here is it's super trash. But I'd really like to see this develop here up. So that's the big question of tonight. Is this going to work its way on up with a little bit more speed? That's kind of the way I'm thinking. That's my bias here. Let's go up a little speed. But this could break to the downside. The invalidation of that is if we start breaking this to the downside and holding, this breaks and holds, it's going to kind of invalidate my thinking here as this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I really need this trend line to hold and this to roll to the upside. All right, let's do some correlation analysis here, guys. I want to show you something on the S&P. Guys, I look at this S&P chart and I'm like, where's wave 4? You know, you've got this move up, and you got a wave 2, so we got a 1 and a 2. But where's the wave 4? Is that it right there? See, it's not proportional to this. And I gotta wonder here, guys, if this right here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, that's wave 5 of wave 3. That could still get one more high. But after that's done, then we're looking for a wave 4. Multi-year bear market. That, you know, followed by a 5th wave. Now what I have drawn here, okay, that's a modest pullback. Okay, that's not a real huge pullback. But it'd be for the next, 5 years or so. Up, down, up, down. But that's the problem I'm having with the S&P, is that it doesn't have that finished look. Now, when I look at the NASDAQ, on the other hand, the NASDAQ has a proportionality of 5 waves to some degree. You could say, yeah, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5. Beautiful. But you could also argue, that this right here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 3rd. That what we just finished here is wave 3. That we're getting ready to go in to some kind of 4th wave. That will be followed by major pumping later. There's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3, there's a 4, looking for 5. But this would be a multi-year bearish correction. Now that's a possibility, that we're going into this and then we get, the final pump of the ages before we get major correction coming. Now I'm not sure if that's going to play or not. We'll see. But it is possible. Now, if this is a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we have to come down harder and faster than I've said. So we're going to come down hard, pull back, come down hard. Okay. So I see S&P at the NASDAQ. Let's look at the DXY. DXY, for those of you who don't know, is the dollar index. Okay, I'm looking for it. There it is. Dollar index. This is a monthly chart here. Let's look at the weekly. All right. We called this wave here up to I said about 111. It didn't quite get to 111. It got to 110. Okay, so I didn't quite at my $1 off the target. Not too bad, not too shabby. But yeah, we got an initial wave. We got a 3-wave pullback. Now what? We're beginning another wave proportional to this wave, more than likely. All right, we're looking for a proportional wave. Dollar is going to tank. and it's going to continue to tank for a while. Money has to move out of the dollar, but it's not going into the markets. Usually, when the dollar's tanking, people move out of the dollar and um, uh, into other markets. Well, I think we're in for market crashes of the century here coming. But he's going to move out of the dollar and out of markets and into something much more tangible. Yes, like gold and silver, not crypto. Not crypto. So the dollars is tanking, and I think the markets are going to tank along with it. Okay, sorry, I had to answer a message. Okay, now let's look at Ethereum. Let's look at XRP and just do some correlation analysis. Go ahead and put your requests in the chat, and we'll finish up the live stream with your requests. Okay. All right. Looking at Ethereum, ah, I hate the wave structure here on the small time frame, but large time frame, you look at what's happening here, and you're like, okay, all right, well, what's going on? We've got a break. I mean, we are finding some temporary support here on this trend line, but it ain't looking good. Doesn't look, the wave structure doesn't look fantastic. It really doesn't. Hard to say what's happening here. The only thing is, we Ethereum hasn't had this kind of a blow off top yet. Are we going to get something like that? Is that what's coming? I'm having a hard time reading what this is. It's possible you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 waves. I'm not a big fan, and this was ABC, 3 waves, ABC, 3 waves, and now we need this to finish. We need this to come on, just pull back, come on down, finish. So we get a little bit of a pullback here, not much, but we need it to come on down at lower targets, and that's a 3-wave correction of. So there's the A or wave 1, and this is 3 waves, A, B, C, okay, 2, and then like that. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, sorry about that. Thanks for waiting. Appreciate it. Okay, so Ethereum is the macro is just is a mess. I was okay with the possibility of a big Ethereum pump here when this was going. I was looking for this to come on up. But now with this move down, I mean, it looks like 3, but man, it just doesn't have any kind of shape to what I'm used to, right? What we're used to seeing. So I got to think that this is going to pull back a little bit. Maybe this is the A wave. Then we get some kind of a B wave, and then C, or WXY. That this is gonna come on down. There's a lot of hidden bullish divergence. Well, I say a lot. Let me see. I mean, there's some hidden bullish divergence here, but it's not beautiful. Camel's asking, couldn't that be a complete to the 4K high? And B, yeah, I suppose you could get an expanded flat, in which case you got some kind of something like this, like that, something like that. I suppose that's possible. And I suppose it's also possible. Here's another thing. This could be a leading diag. Okay. I got it. This could be a leading diag, and everything's 3. So 3 there. And we're going to have to say that's 3, and that this was a flat of some kind. And then that's 3, boom, something like that. Okay, all right, I will concede that that's maybe, I don't know how likely it is, but it's possible. I don't know. So then you got basically 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 needs to do that. So, boom, something like that. I'm not a huge fan of that count, but maybe. All right. Ethereum's, I'll just say, is just it's a tough wave for me to understand. That said, looking at the micro or a little bit here, this wave here, ow, yeah. This has the breaking down look to it, doesn't it? This has a 3 wavishness to it. You got an initial wave, a pullback. Is this coming down? It's ugly, man. That is ugly. Three. That looks like ABC, 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 WXY. Looks finished. There's your initial wave. Almost looks like a triangle in here. A, B, C, D, E, right there. Kind of looks like a triangle. So you got basically an A, a B triangle, C. That's a done, finished correction. Now, what is this? This looks like a 5-wave. Oh, sorry. That looks like a 5-wave move. We haven't hit a golden zone retrace. Oh, yeah, we did. We hit it. Just not a fan of this right here. What is that trash? What if this is A, B, C, and then down? So you get a pump and then down. Or this is 3 waves and then we're going to go up again. So that's likely right there. I like that. That's not a bad wave shape there. Or this could just keep on down. I'm just not a fan of that right there. It's not pretty. It doesn't have any clarity to it. So it looks like it needs more, something more. All right, let's look at XRP for a moment. XRP, I'm looking at here. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. I'm kind of looking at this as an impulse wave right there. Boom, boom, boom. 3-wave correction of that impulse. And then let's go. So let's retest this area maybe. I'm looking for this to finish. And then going up. But I don't think it's going to go up forever. I think that's part of a 3-wave move. Boom. W, X, Y. And then roll over and come down. Boom, boom, boom. Considering this to be a top. One thing I considered last time we looked at the live is that this is some kind of a boom, 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 3 waves. The problem I'm having with XRP being bullish is what's happening right here. This right here is, to me, is not a bullish construction. Why? Why is that not bullish? Okay, if it's bullish, I'm looking for some kind of count, right? I'm looking for some kind of count to say, okay, there's an impulse. Okay, there's wave 1. Okay, and there's wave 2. That looks fine. And then we got that pump right there. Say, okay, that's fine. But what happened after that? You got a 3-wave pullback that took that low out. So that can't be a 1-2, and then you have another 1-2. It can't be a 1-2-1-2. That low got taken out. Okay? Now, the next thing it can't be is it can't be a flat. Why? Because if that's A, B, C, well, sorry, no, let's try it this way. You can't have this as, some kind of a, dang, I can't even see it. Boom. This isn't some kind of flat correction, so that wouldn't work. But what if, here's a much more bullish scenario. What if this is A, B, C, and this is A, B, C, then we need 5 to the upside. See, that just didn't make any sense. 1, 2, and that's a 1, 2. We're getting ready to go to the moon. 3, 4, 5. Not really to the moon, just XRP's just never done that before. Made a macro flat like that, except unless that's it right there, which I don't think so. Now, the bullish scenario. So how are you going to count this bullishly? How are you going to count? How are you going to count that bullishly? Because you can't count this as a 1, and it can't be a 1 2 1 2. So this looks like a finished 3 wave. Boom. Now what do you do with this? 3 waves, fine. Now what? Well, I'm looking for 3 waves. There's 1. We're in the middle of 2, 3. So this is actually pumping a little bit and then rolling over. That doesn't jive with my BTC idea of going up first. In other words, my flat idea that takes us to 103 or 100, my analysis of XRP doesn't seem to fit with it. Unless this starts to surprise me in how it goes up. If this starts to pump and take this high out, then yes, that would jive. If this starts to pump and take that high, then yes, I can see it jiving with the BTC flat idea up here first, right? If it starts to pump. But if it holds this as A, that's B, I'd be looking for C down. That's the way I'd be thinking about it. Camel's offering a triangle as a possibility. I it's not in a position of a triangle, so yeah, but maybe, I suppose. But are you guys seeing my issue with XRP and my lack of bullishness? My struggle? Seth says possibly in a C wave of a B. Yeah, so that's a real possibility. But this Seth, this would have to be A, there's B, we'd have to get C here. And it's just ugly. It's just super ugly. But I would love it. I'm long in XRP right now. I would love it to come up here. That would be a fantastic trade. I would love that. And in which case, then you got A, this is B, then we'd be looking for C. This is just real trash. But I hope you guys are tracking with me and why I'm struggling with my bullishness on XRP. One thing of note, this volume peak, okay, that volume peak there came at this low. So that at least has a pointing up until volume comes in to overtake it at a peak here. So this volume came in at the low. So volume comes in here at the high, then we get bearish again. But that's a lot of volume right there. Lots. All right. Let's zoom in and look at the small time frame. I'm in a long trade here. I want to What is this? See, this looks like a flat here. It just hasn't made any of my targets, man. is so shallow. I would like to see it get up here to the 50. A, B, C. Or even the 618 retrace up here. That would be fantastic. That's kind of what I'm expecting, that. Because this looks like 3, 3. I need 5. That could be a 1, 2. Woo-wee. That's real bull. I mean, that's a bullish scenario. And if it starts moving faster than that, I wouldn't see that as an ABC. But this looks like an ABC. That's my thing. That doesn't look like a 1. It looks like 3 waves to start. 3 waves down. 3, 3. The low did not get taken. 3, 3, came back 90% looking for 5. I mean, this is a 5-wave shape already. But I'd like to see a target of here and here, and then I'm thinking short from there. At least looking for a reversal potential there for a C wave or a much deeper wave. Okay, I've got somebody that wants me to look at Altcoin and somebody that wants me to look at Tesla. Let's take a peek at Tesla because I got that chart. I know that one by heart. Yeah, Tesla's very bearish. I called this top here. I've been bearish on Tesla for quite a bit. Why? The biggest reason is there's a W, there's an X wave. This or not X, excuse me. That's an A wave. This is a B wave. Took the high for an expanded flat, looking for 5 waves. Okay, so I'd be looking for 5 waves, and I'd look for I would say a 127 extension. Okay, the 127 and the 1414 extension is my target zone. That would be my first target zone right there. Anywhere from $98 to $44 on Tesla. Now, is it going to go straight there? No, it's going to go in waves, but we're going down pretty quick, looking for a little pullback, continuation, pullback, continuation. Okay, so that's going to take quite a while. It's going to take months for this to fall. Okay, you can get corrections along the way, but basically I'm looking for this to come down here. If you get a shape like this on your chart, this is the buy zone, looking to buy for another round to the upside. That's what I'd be looking for. This is a beautiful 5-wave move to the upside. A wave 4, a wave 5. It's beautiful. W, X, looking for Y to finish. Once Y is done, or C, excuse me, looking for C to finish. A, B, looking for C. I don't know why I said WXY. It's a flat. It's expanded flat. Then I'd be looking for XRP to find a bottom and then start moving back to the upside. That's the way I'm looking at Tesla. And then somebody asked me about Altcoin. That's hilarious that we're looking at charts named Altcoin. Aren't they all Altcoin? They're all S coins, right? All right, Binance, Altcoin, let's look at daily here. Okay, that's a nice chart. I mean, I don't have any price action to compare this to. But if Bitcoin pumps, I imagine this could pump up, and then we'd look for a dump. The way most S coins work is that they roll up, and then they come all the way back down in 3 waves. Find a lower high, and then they just kind of pump and dump. And that's the way S coins work. So I'd look at this for a bigger pump. I can see that possibility, at least. We are reaching a high here with there's major hidden bearish divergence on this chart. So there is bearish divergence, and it's not pretty. Well, it is pretty, but it's not. But if Bitcoin does pump to that 100K range, like I was saying, then yeah, you could see kind of a pump here. I don't know how high, somewhere here maybe. Somewhere around 70 cents or something. Yeah, 70 cents is a possible area right there. Boom. And then we would look for it to find a peak and then come almost straight back down in 3 waves. That's the way most S coins move. So hopefully that helps you, Mr. Patriot. There you go. And then Music Life is asking me for Misty. What is Misty? Is that MSTY/USDT or what? What chart are you asking me for? That's a stock. Okay. Got it. Well, there's no price history here, unfortunately, so I can't really help you a whole lot. Oh, it's leveraged MicroStrategies. Got it. Yeah, not sure how to help you here. It's threatening a breakout. You get a breakout of that trend line right there. You're looking long for a little bit, just like you had this kind of a. You see that trend line right there? You had a break of it to the upside. I mean, so there's a potential long here. I don't know how high it's going to go, but certainly there's a potential here. But there's no waves I can really read here, unfortunately. Let's just look at MicroStrategies. Yeah, there we go. Huge volume at this peak here. Huge volume. Again, if that trend line right there, if you get a break of that to the upside, that's going to be bullish for a bit. How long? I don't know. Is that going to do that? Or is this just going to come up here as a flat and then roll over? That would be my idea. This kind of resembles a flat here. Then so we'll pump up and then roll over and come down for 3 more. Okay. You might argue that this has another blow off top to make. Boom. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's an argument there for Bitcoin needing a blow off top. If Bitcoin gets this blow off top, then MicroStrategy seems to be calling for it. There's hidden bullish divergence, pretty strong hidden bull. So yeah, if that breaks, that's bullish for a bit. Yeah. Are we going to get that pump? I don't know. I don't know. All right, guys. There's the live. Hope that analysis has been helpful to you. It's either we're going to break down to 72K with Bitcoin or up to 100. It's kind of where I am. And those are my two options for now. Let's come back together next Sunday and see what happens. Hope you guys have a fantastic week. Thanks for stopping by. And thanks for being around. Chemo, thanks as always. Y'all have a great night. See you later. Bye, guys.